Welcome to our explainer. We're diving into a really provocative monologue that's been making the rounds online. It tackles immigration in Europe, but not in the way you might expect. The central argument is that what's happening isn't integration, but something very different. So let's break down exactly what this source is arguing. Right off the bat, the source frames the entire discussion with this question. It's incredibly direct. Is it integration or an invasion? So in this explainer, we're going to unpack how the speaker constructs their argument piece by piece, starting with the main example they use to build their entire case. All right, first up, a changing UK landscape. You know, the whole argument we're about to explore really hangs on one single case study. The source presents the United Kingdom as a kind of blueprint for what it sees happening elsewhere. So, to get started, the source points directly to the political scene. It lists off these 6 major cities in the UK, London, Birmingham, Blackburn, and so on, and highlights one specific thing. They're all led by Muslim mayors. This is laid out as the very first piece of evidence for what the source calls a massive shift. Okay, next up, the numbers behind this new reality. After making that political point, the monologue just pivots and starts rattling off a whole series of statistics. These are used to paint a picture of what it's calling a new reality in Great Britain. The first number thrown out there is 4 million. The claim is that all those political changes we just saw were accomplished with a Muslim population of 4 million, out of a total UK population of 66 million. Then, the source adds another layer to this picture, claiming that England is now home to more than 3,000 mosques. And it doesn't stop there. The speaker follows that up by stating there are also 130 Sharia law courts currently operating within the country. So after politics and institutions, the argument switches gears and turns to economics. It makes a very specific claim here, that 78% of Muslim women in the UK are not working, and that they receive state benefits and free housing. And that claim isn't just limited to Muslim women. The source then broadens it out, asserting that 68% of the entire Muslim population in the UK is unemployed and also relies on state support. And just to complete its picture of the UK, the source throws in a few more points. It claims the average Muslim family has between 6 and 8 children who get state support, that Mohammed is now the most popular name for newborn boys in England, and that schools are starting to introduce Islamic studies. The invasion thesis. After presenting all of those statistics and claims about the UK, the monologue shifts from just giving you data points to stating its central and, let's be honest, its most explosive conclusion. And there it is. This is what the whole argument has been building up to. After laying out all that UK data, the speaker lands the punchline. This is not integration, this is an invasion. So you might be wondering, what's the supposed motivation for this so-called invasion? Well, to explain that, the source brings up a really powerful historical idea, El Dorado. It argues that modern Europe has become a new kind of El Dorado, a fabled land promising wealth and a better life. And this is a really crucial point in the argument. The source draws a big, bold line in the sand. It says, the old American El Dorado was all about achieving success through your own hard work. But it claims this new European El Dorado is different, that it's a prosperity achieved through state welfare and population growth, not labor. All right, so now that the source has built its entire case using the UK as the prime example, it pivots. It takes that whole framework and applies it as a direct warning to another country, Portugal. And when it comes to Portugal, the source gets really specific. It zooms right in on the political arena, and in particular on a statement it attributes to the politician Luis Montenegro. This quote right here is what the source really latches onto. The speaker puts this statement, supposedly from Montenegro, front and center. We should look at immigrants as new Portuguese. And immediately, the source gives its own take on that statement. It doesn't see it as a statement of principle. It dismisses it as a purely political move, nothing more than a hunt for votes. To really hammer home the urgency of its warning, the source uses this pretty stark comparison. The logic goes like this. If a big, powerful country like England can change so dramatically, then Portugal, which the source just calls a Pia in comparison, is way more vulnerable and is headed for chaos much, much faster. So, after all the numbers, the historical comparisons, and the political warnings, the source's entire argument gets boiled down. It all comes down to one final, very simple instruction for anyone listening. Look to England. Just 2 words, but they're meant to carry the weight of the entire argument. It's a provocative way to end, presenting the UK not as a one-off case, but as a forecast of the future. The source lays all this out as a warning, and ultimately it leaves it up to you to decide if that comparison is valid.